Okay, Kazam. Tonight we're doing something a little different. It's a bit of an experiment. We're going to try to broadcast to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I have no idea how this works. So, but I'm about to find out. Probably not the best activity for somebody who sucks at multitasking like yours truly does. Anyways, happy Easter, everybody. The Quarantine Corner edition. And how is everybody doing? Tonight is an open chat, semi-open panel. Resting Bitch Face was supposed to come on with me, but unfortunately, there is a storm out where she is, and the power is out. So we'll see if the power comes back on later for her. She might just jump on a little bit later on. Meantime, I will put the StreamYard link in the YouTube chat, not the Facebook chat, the YouTube chat, because right now I can only concentrate on one chat at the same time. Okie doke. So anybody who wants to join me on stream, I have to know you. That's the thing. Anyways, the StreamYard link to hop on with me is in the YouTube chat. So you will have to join me on my YouTube channel. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put the link to the, okay, here we go. This is the link to my YouTube channel for those who are watching from Facebook. Okay, there we go. So anyhow, so how is everybody doing this fine evening? I imagine many are finishing up doing virtual Easter dinner, like on Zoom or on Skype, like so many are doing. I know many did that for the evening of Seder at Passover just last Wednesday, I think it was. Yes. Okay. So like I said, tonight is an open chat, and we're not really going to discuss anything too heavy. We want to keep it fun, I mean, it is an Easter Sunday night. We can get to the serious topics this week. And so welcome to Hey Hearts, good to see you. Good to see you. Did I hold on? Okay, yeah, you had to open a new account. Oh yeah, you have a blue wrench. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So you're okay. You got a blue wrench. All right, cool. You're good to go. So thank you for stopping by. For those of you who are new, welcome to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chic. We are a story time / social commentary channel. Do some reactions every so often. And we try to ham it up sometimes, have a little fun while we're at it. If you're into that kind of thing, please consider subscribing. And please consider leaving a thumbs up on the way out the door if you haven't done so already. That is on YouTube. And we'll see how long I will keep the chat up on Facebook. I will let you know once I quit the Facebook. And hopefully, if you want to still stick around, we can keep you on YouTube. So, anyways, so oh my! So now we're almost a month in for many when the lockdown started. So we're all finding ways to amuse ourselves. I thought I was going to be posting more, but I don't know. I don't know. It's not like I don't have a bunch of topic ideas. I created a bunch of thumbnails. I've got a bunch of thumbnails on the go and haven't done the videos for them yet. Go figure. I mean, Grandma Dramamine is on hold. Grandma Dramamine, that project is on hold. I'm waiting to get 1,000. Am I buffering? Hearts love, am I buffering? Oh, you're having a storm too. Oh, wow. Yeah, Resting Bitch Face was supposed to come on with me, and the power is out where she is. Yeah, but you're a little further than she is, I think. Yeah, she said the power was out, and that was about an hour ago. So we'll see if she gets her power back and she's inclined to join. She may well join me up on screen. So we'll see what happens. But okay, I'm better now. All right. All right. Let's see what's happening on the. For whatever reason, the Facebook doesn't. Yeah, Facebook doesn't really register, you know. Facebook doesn't really register. Okay. So, Marina, hi. Happy Easter. Happy Easter, Marina. Good to have you. Okay. So, so anybody, Hearts Lover, Marina, who are in the live chat on YouTube now. So, what's been happening with the usual social media shenanigans now that there's quarantine? What's been happening? Yeah. So, anyways, with resting bitch face, I was gonna do a cringe. We thought we'd react to a few videos, do some cringe compilation. Nothing to stop us from doing that. Nothing to stop us at all from doing that. Anyways, so maybe we might do that a little bit later. So, who's up for a cringe compilation? Yeah, who's up for a cringe compilation? Later? Or, yeah, I already read the stories of Verdun. I guess a lot are still busy with their virtual Easter suppers. I thought I put it late enough. I know some that are on a time difference. There's a time difference, and they're a couple of hours behind me. They might be still in the middle of virtual Easter dinner. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah? All right. Let's find something to react to. All right. Any requests? Who do you want to see me react to? Not another Trisha Paytas video, unless it's absolutely ridiculous. Unless it's ridiculous and laugh-worthy. Let's try to avoid Trisha Paytas. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Who is out there? Who can we react to? Yeah, I'm also. Oh, you're also out of the loop. I don't have access to my Facebook or my Twitter at the moment, so I just go on YouTube, and that's about it for my social media. Oh dear. Did you try to reset your passwords to Facebook and Twitter, Marina? Did you try to reset your passwords? Okay. Okie doke. Okay. Sorry about that. Just checking. I tell you, maybe this is a bad idea because I suck so badly at multitasking, right? Yeah. Who did you unsub from? Oh, Trisha Paytas. Yeah. Oh God. I mean, there is one who's gone really super cringeworthy as of late. What's her name? MFW, Ms. Fucking Wonderful. Anybody know her? Apparently, lately her live streams involve getting sloshed, slammed out, drunk, and she gets 600 people in her live streams. God darn it! God darn it! People do really like a train wreck, I suppose. But apparently that's what she does. Apparently she gets all sloshed out, drunk, and she attracts all these people and makes money hand over fist. Not that I'm going to try that, What else has been going on? Yeah, OnlyFans is gaining in popularity. You kept resubbing to Trisha Hearts? Oh boy. Yeah, it never improves, does it? Oh gosh. No, it doesn't improve, does it? Okay. So anyways, yeah, so there's OnlyFans is gaining in popularity. And you know what I was thinking? You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, damn, if only I were younger and about 100 pounds lighter, I might even entertain doing OnlyFans. Yes, I tried to do that. However, it didn't work as it stands. Facebook said that due to Yeah, we're not allowed to use that word on YouTube anymore, huh? Go figure. The powers that be at YouTube can't use that word no more. Due to C, they are not accepting IDs to verify accounts. So I have to wait until it's all over to send them over the ID. That is wild. Marina, that is wild. Wow. Wow. I know that YouTube has been taking down videos left for a lot of people, left, right, and center. Yeah, MFW, you can do live stream slosh out drunk. Ooh, go figure. Go figure. Okay. Who's around? Okay. Good God. I have been noticing on social media the different, anyways, on social media on different platforms, because there are some who are, I might do another video more in detail about this, but there are some who have announced that they're doing OnlyFans. Okay, they're doing OnlyFans. As I mentioned, if I were younger and I were about 100 pounds lighter, I might even entertain it. I might even entertain doing OnlyFans. But yeah, there's some are getting chastised because they're doing OnlyFans. And it's like, why? Don't judge. Don't judge. Would it be okay for me to go ahead and put the links up? Yeah, sure, Hearts Love, do that. Yeah, please do that. Oh yeah, Fedora. I've heard of her. Fedora. I've heard of her. I heard that she's a complete and utter literal train wreck. Yeah, she is. That's right, Marina. She is. Yeah, please do, Hearts. Thank you. Okay, so for now, I guess now is as good a time as any to. I have a Discord server for anybody who's interested in joining. We have all kinds of rooms in our Discord server to suit all kinds of tastes. We have a music room, share your artwork, a venting corner where you can have a safe place to vent and nobody will judge you. Bunch of group of awesome people that will hear you. There's a main chat room for light chat. Also politics. There's a political chit chat room if you want to discuss politics. And just in my Discord server. So easy for me to say. So please consider joining the Discord server. Hearts Love is about to put the Discord server link in the chat. That will come up very shortly. There it is. Thank you, Hearts. So here we go. I'm just going to add it to I'm just going to take it to the Facebook part of the chat too. Anybody who wants to join my Discord server. So please consider doing so. Okay. Yeah, please consider doing so. We have voice and text chats in the Discord server as well. Okay, here we go. So also now the obnoxious e-begging portion of the show. If you wish to support the channel, you may do so. I have Patreon. And I'll give a shout out to Journey to Find K and to S, who are my patrons. I appreciate you all. And also, for one-time donations, you can donate to my PayPal. Cool. Okay. Thanks. Hearts Love is putting the Patreon and the PayPal links in the chat. So thank you. Greatly appreciated. Yeah. You know, I've been hearing also a lot of people taking up some new activities, or maybe they're taking up old activities during this quarantine. And the one thing that's gotten popular, because apparently items like flour and yeast and other baking stuff to bake is now a rare commodity as toilet paper. Thank you, Hearts Love. Okay, yeah, it's that's okay. Don't worry about it, Marina. Okay, yeah, so now apparently things like flour and yeast are as rare a commodity as toilet paper to find in stores these days. People have taken up baking bread, not just any bread. They've taken up baking sourdough. Yeah, that's one of the newest quarantine activities, sourdough. And then I ended up with somebody's promo. I got 2 months free of Skillshare. and I have yet to take one of the classes. Okay, I have yet to take one of the classes off of Skillshare. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, who says you have to be productive anyway, if you don't want to? And I think I don't know if there's there's a few, I keep hoping for a few lessons, we as a society would learn through all this. Because through every tragedy, through every incident, every event, there are lessons to be learned potentially if one were willing to learn them. And because just before this pandemic, it's like this rat race. I think it's more in North American culture, but European cultures have it too, I suppose. But it's always that rat race, to accomplish everything, be well accomplished, be super, super, super productive, and then when the quarantine started in many jurisdictions, it was like, let's be productive, let's try to be productive. We'll take an online class, we'll take up baking, take up all these hobbies. Maybe I'll start painting that I didn't paint before, and it's like, okay, if that works for you, great. If that works for you, great. But I don't think others should be pressured. You know what I mean? Like here on YouTube, people, the YouTube gurus have been promoting, put up more content, put up more content. Yeah. But it's like I said, it's not like I don't have the ideas. It's just that there are certain topics I would prefer to wait till I have a bigger audience, till I have more subscribers. And then also because of all the verboten words on YouTube, the list of verboten words, and most of these words are typically used with the kind of topics I talk about. So it's kind of like, it doesn't really motivate much, doesn't really motivate much. Anyways, I wish I was, I wish I was more motivated, but I'm not. But also, I hadn't been feeling that great as of late. So I'm feeling better. But the past few days, I hadn't been feeling all that great. And I don't know. I mean, I already suffer from anxiety disorders. And so it's probably more amplified with those who suffer from anxiety. It's probably more amplified. But I'm sure a lot of people who don't, who don't have such a problem. Any of you ever feel like, as of late, you get a sore throat? And it's typical cold and flu season. All this is happening. You get a sore throat. It's like, and it's like panic set in. I better not have this. I better not have this. Hang on. Marina, you put on 15 pounds. That's okay. A lot of people put on weight during quarantine. Don't feel too bad about yourself. Don't feel too bad about that, Marina. Nobody should make us feel bad about gaining weight. No one. Because it shouldn't matter how big we get. Doesn't change us as people, right? It doesn't change us as people if we gain weight, right? Okay, and it shouldn't. All right, you had a free trial of Skillshare, but you didn't use it either, huh? Okay. Well, you might get another opportunity. I mean, some of the YouTubers you watch, Skillshare is sponsoring them, so in turn, they're getting a coupon code for 2 free months. That's how it worked that's how I got it. That's how I got the free trial. Yeah. Actually 15 pounds might be conservative. It's probably more, but I don't know. I don't have a scale in my home. Looking forward to the quarantine ending. I can finally join a gym. Okay. But don't feel pressured, Marina. Don't feel pressured. Parks are closed. Hearts Love says parks are closed. And you've been buying and making comfort food. And she's pretty broke. Yeah, I know, I hear you. It's like, even if your life didn't really get all that, like myself, okay? I get the same, I mean, my income comes from the same place as it did before the quarantine. It comes from the same place. So it didn't really change on that end for me. Except, there are more expenses to be incurred, like food delivery, like the grocery store. And if you're lucky to get a calendar from the online grocery shopping thing, if you're lucky enough to get a calendar, and the earliest delivery date is 2 weeks from now, Yeah, you got to pay the extra delivery charge. I mean, I know the Metro grocery charge is $12. Same thing for IGA. And the other grocery chains don't deliver around here, so there's that. Walmart doesn't deliver their groceries. You got to pick up. Propago and Maxi, got to pick up. PA Marché, you got to pick up. You know, it's hold on. Luckily, I've been sticking to my yoga, so that's the upside. Okay, cool, Marina. Oh, that's cool. Me either, Marina. It's a blessing and a curse to not have a scale. It's even hard to go for walks. And I live in the middle of nowhere compared to many. Perhaps if you made the content, you would gain the subscribers one way and looking at it anyway. That's a point taken, Marina. Point taken. Something to think about. It's something to think about. But I'll be honest with you, it's like I've been feeling a lot of lack of motivation. I go through periods where I'm extremely tired. You know, there are a couple of days I can go with very little sleep. I've had chronic insomnia for many years. And then lately it's like a few days I can go, I have little sleep, and then boom, I crash after a few days and I'm sleeping for about 16 hours a day. That's what's been going on. So I sleep for about 16 hours and I can do that for several days and then the cycle starts again, right? Oh dear. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, YouTube. There are plenty of YouTube videos, instruction videos on yoga. There are plenty of those. There's everything to suit everybody's taste on YouTube these days. Oh, yes. Okay, let me check something. Okay. Uh-huh. Guess I don't know. I'm wondering if I went on too early. I don't know. For some people. I don't know. Hang on. Gosh. Anyways. That's really difficult. 16 hours are gone. Yeah. I like Yoga by Candace. I don't know who Candace is. I don't know Yoga by Candace, but then again, I don't really follow yoga. I don't know. I tried a yoga class once. It really did nothing for me. This was like about 15 years ago. It really did not float my boat. I didn't really like it. But yeah, if you like it and it helps for you, by all means do so. You know, far be it for me to judge, right? Far be it for me to judge. So anyways, even Twitter is boring these days. All everybody talks about is the Tiger King. Has anybody watched the Tiger King? I haven't. It's just, I don't know, when everybody tells me to watch something and it's super popular, call it a reverse psychology thing, I suppose, but I refuse to watch something that is a little too hyped up. So I haven't watched it. Hey, Sheldon! Sheldon! Do you want to come on screen with me? Sheldon, you want to come on screen with me? Here, I'm going to drop you the StreamYard link. Here. Okay, it's in the chat, Shell. You should see it in a minute. Okay, the StreamYard link. Hop on with me. Okay, cool. Marina, I don't think you've met my ex. Don't think you've met my ex-partner, Sheldon. Also, he did voice work. He is a big help on this channel. He's a big friend of this channel. And he collabs with me every so often. He comes up on screen and hands everything up with me. So, which is super cool. He's a lot of fun to have on, and hopefully he'll jump on screen with me. So we don't have to put up with my monotonic voice. We don't have to put up with my monotonic voice. Anyway, Shell, you should see the StreamYard link right now. Come and hop on. We'll wait and see what he does. We'll wait and see what Sheldon does. Okay. So we'll wait and see what he does. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Get on through your laptop. That would be better than the phone. Yeah. See, Heart's Love wants to see you on screen. Shell, you are popular. Heart's Love wants to see you on screen. She wants to see you on screen with me. See? Go get your laptop fired up. Get your laptop fired off. So, but anyways, yeah. So back to what I was saying. I don't know. When something is a little too hyped up and too popular, I tend to, the more hyped up something is and the more something is popular, the less inclined I am to watch it. And Tiger Kings has fallen into that. Tiger Kings has fallen into that category for me. But have any of you watched it? I finished watching the 4-part miniseries of Unorthodox about a young woman who who grew up in ultra-Orthodox Jewish community in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York. And she one day ups and walks out with only the clothes on her back and leaves her community and flies off to Berlin, Germany. Very riveting story. Yeah, I was planning actually to do a video with the review of the mini series, which should come up soon. Because I think that would be more interesting. I don't know what is the thrill about Tiger Kings. I mean, I keep seeing pictures of this guy, Joe, I think his name is. And you see this like bleach blonde mullet and this 1970s, 1980s disco mustache. No, looks a little too, I tend to be concerned if there was any cruelty done or harm that came to the animals. So that's a concern. That's something that's a bit of a trigger for me. Animal cruelty. It's a bit of a trigger for me. So I won't watch it, right? You haven't, but you heard about Tiger King and you think you'll pass. Started Unorthodox. It's really well done, but I've just started. Hearts, I think you're going to like Unorthodox. I'm glad you're taking my recommendation there. Yeah, I think you're going to like. Unorthodox. Is there anything else new these days? Whether it's Netflix, Amazon Prime, we don't have Hulu here in Canada. We don't have Hulu here. But yeah, let me know in the chat. I'm going to check the Facebook, see what's going on. I don't think anybody's watching off of Facebook. I don't think anybody's watching off of Facebook right now. Okay. 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 Let me see what's just let me check something. Just checking something. Hey. Okay, sorry about that. I suck at multitasking. Looks like the simulcast is working though. Your friend described Tiger King is very over the top. And yes, I think there are some animal issues and finger pointing. Same, it reminded me of Blackfish. I don't know Blackfish. I've never heard of Blackfish. I guess I just don't like that stuff just from the description. Yeah, same here. I don't know. Somebody had messaged me, watch Tiger Kings. You can review it. It would be a good topic. Review Tiger Kings on your channel, and it would be a good topic for my channel. It's like, no. And I don't want to see any animal cruelty. No. But I will definitely. I already prepared the thumbnail. I will definitely review Unorthodox. I've already prepared the thumbnail for it. Yeah. Oh, Sheldon, did he drop off the face of the earth? Did he drop off the face of the internet? Okay. Well, hopefully he's firing his laptop up and he'll come and join me on screen. Because that would be super, super cool if he did. Sometimes he is what makes my channel interesting. Oh, thank you, Marina. I appreciate that. No, but yeah, no, people love it when, people love it when Sheldon comes on with me. Yeah, people tend to love it when he comes on with me. we'll see what happens. What's happening? Yeah. Gosh. Okay. God, I'm getting hot all of a sudden. Okay. So, anyways, okay. So yeah, there is. So, anyways, I don't know. It's like you'd think there would be much more interesting content these days out on social media land. More interesting topics. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. Don't worry. It's because I don't smoke enough. Okay. It's because I don't smoke enough. All right. Let's see. Is Sheldon up? Okay. I guess we lost Sheldon. All right. All right. We lost Sheldon. You will. Yeah, Marina, I recommend it. I think, yeah, I recommend it. No animals are harmed in that show. In that one, no animals were harmed. But it's a very riveting story, I got to tell you. It's if one were a writer or an actor, it would be a great thing to study for for character arc. This is something actors and writers alike study very often. Character arc, the evolution of a character study, and that's what would make it and that's what makes it interesting. The protagonist, the young Esty. That's the girl who leaves her. Hang on. Oh, thank you, Hearts Love. Sorry, this horrible tickle. Okay. But yeah, it's a very interesting character study, watching Esty, including how her wardrobe gradually changes, not that appearance matters, it doesn't, but for all intents and purposes, for those who know, the ultra Orthodox Jewish women, they have a very specific dress code. And so that's why, you see her trying to adapt to the secular world. You see her trying to adapt to the secular world, and that would include dressing the part. She befriends a group of young music students at some music conservatory in Berlin, Germany. And she lives virtually homeless as well until she reunites with her estranged mother. It's a very riveting show. Very riveting show. Gosh. Sheldon. Sheldon.
I am here. How are you?
Hi.
How's it going?
See the corner of your face.
You see, yeah. Well, I don't want to crack the camera, so I think I just, Is that a little bit better?
Yeah.
How you doing? I'm not going to stay long. I got the invitation, so how's everybody?
Okay. So there he is. Yeah, we were talking about Unorthodox just now. You watched it.
Yes, I did. Very much. It was very good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly.
And as you can see, I don't have a beard.
No, you don't.
So if anybody's trying to picture this at all, please do not adjust your sets. So, yeah.
Hearts Love says that she got a giggle from you. And he also says the screen is still very much intact. Hearts Love also says she really likes the way the series starts. It grabs your attention from the beginning. You want to know her story, meaning Esty's story.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, it was really I don't know what you said, what really you said, because I was gone for a while.
No, just give your opinion.
I mean, my mind was gone a long time ago, but that's another story for another day. Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I guess you got to draw your own conclusions. It was basically about an Orthodox woman that was really trying to find her way, and she just wanted to get out. And the trials and tribulations, you see her going to Berlin, Germany, to try to get back together with her mom. And her mother had an interesting lifestyle on her own, of her own, which she wasn't used to.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to get more into what it would feel like,
to live a normal life.
To live a normal life.
Or rather a secular life, a life in the secular world.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, my life and my life is, my mind has gone a long time ago, so that's a horse of a different color.
Yeah,
but
gone too.
Yeah, but that's neither here or there. But it was a really very well acted movie, and it was based on a true story.
Yeah.
And I forget who directed it. I don't remember who directed the movie.
Maria. It was a German director.
Yeah, but
Maria.
Yeah, the person, not
the first
Maria.
name was Maria.
Yeah, not Marie Antoinette. So forget about it, people. But just, I mean, this was a person who herself faced that situation, or the writer was one of the two.
No, the writer of the book was loosely based on a book by Deborah Feldman.
Yeah.
Who she wrote about her journey leaving her community in Williamsburg, and she goes off to Berlin. But it's a bit of a different story. Deborah went on to become a writer.
Yeah.
Okay, whereas the character of Esty wants to become a musician.
Yeah. So yes, Hearts, it was definitely based on a true story, and you should watch it. It's available on Netflix if you have it. People
Hearts Love has been watching it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did you think, Hearts Love, of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Still watching it. She's still in the middle of it.
Okay. Well, I don't want to give too much away because
spoilers.
No, I don't want to give that away. So you know what? Basically, Well, you know what? One thing about comparing books to movies, because books are obviously more detailed, and movies, you only have so much time to show a movie because you need to edit for, screen time and everything like that, especially if you're going to have it for television. So it's something that, when you're doing a movie based on a book, I would always say to people, read the book first if you're a book reader, and then watch the movie, as opposed to watch the movie and then read the book. Because if you watch the movie, you might miss details of the book. But at least if you read the book, there might be something that's missing out of the movie.
Different story, though. Her journey is completely different. Like, apparently, Deborah Feldman, when she left, her son was already born. She had her son already. Esther didn't have children, if you recall. She was pregnant.
Yeah.
But she didn't have any children in tow. But Deborah Feldman actually had her young son in tow.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's very different. Like, it's the premise is the same. Leaving Williamsburg for Berlin, into the unknown. But Deborah Feldman leaves with her child.
I always wanted to know why her mother picked Berlin of all cities to move into.
Because if you recall, she's from England herself. The mother was from England.
Right.
And her parents and grandparents were of German citizenship.
Ah, okay.
So apparently, I don't know if this is true in real life. It was true of most of the what would you call it? The EU countries. If you have parents or grandparents who had citizenship, it's easier for you to get citizenship.
Ah, I see. Okay.
You see, if my father hadn't have given up his Dutch citizenship, okay, because he had.
Yeah, you know what? You could have moved to Aruba. And I would have visited you.
What?
I said if your father didn't give up the citizenship, because Aruba is part of the Dutch kingdom, is the Netherlands kingdom.
You were in Aruba not long ago.
Yeah,
before the quarantine. You got back just in time before the quarantine started around.
Well, I'll tell a very brief story. My girlfriend and I went to Aruba on her March break. She's a teacher. She teaches English to a French school, and so anyway, we wanted to go away, and she actually pulled a surprise on me during Christmas and New Year's. Because originally she said, you know what, I want to go, I'd like to go away. So I felt, well, okay. I didn't think anything of it. And it was almost like last minute. Originally, we were supposed to go to Jamaica, but because of a lot of crimes that's been happening lately in Jamaica, we decided to change it to Aruba. So I've heard of Aruba, and only a couple of people in my family been there, not a lot of people. And I said, you know what, why not? If we're able to swing it, let's swing it. So we went to Aruba, and we were there for 5 days and 4 nights.
Right.
Went on an all-inclusive place. And when we arrived there, there was very little about the COVID-19. It was just starting a little bit. There was a couple of cases in the States, but certainly not like this, not as widespread. Same thing with in Canada. And in the lobby of the hotel, we had an open air lobby in the hotel. We saw they had CNN piped in, and so I watched CNN for like 2 minutes because I wanted to get away from the news. I didn't want to really be immersed, and I was
on vacation.
Yeah, we were on vacation, and the only thing that really got my attention was a tornado that hit the state of Tennessee, where my cousin presently lives. And thankfully, his house, his family, his property was spared. Nobody was injured as far as they were concerned because they were located away from Nashville, Tennessee. So that was really the only thing. And then right after that, there was just a couple of cases in Aruba, and the thing was Italy was just starting to get get cases.
Right.
So my mother was a nervous wreck. So I called her twice a day from Aruba from the time I got down there. And basically we went from Montreal to Toronto and Toronto to Aruba. And I called her when we arrived at Toronto International Airport in Pearson. I called her once I got Wi-Fi in Aruba, and I called her every day once we were down there to, like, is everything okay? Was anything? So there was nothing, no signs, nobody wearing masks. I mean, we disinfected the plane anyway, like where our seats were. We took the disinfected wipes. We took the hand sanitizers because we would do that anyway when we would, So we would do that, clean the seat belts, the trays, when we come back from the washroom, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we did that. When we got our luggage from the conveyor belts, we cleaned and disinfected. So we really did that anyway. Yeah. We arrived at the hotel. The room was clean. We had an ocean view hotel. Ooh. I sent you pictures.
Ooh.
And and the thing was that when we left, we went back again. There was no problem. The only difference was when we arrived in Canadian Customs, there was an extra questionnaire that was thrown in. Did any one of us go to Asia, or were we coming from Asia?
That was at the airport in Aruba.
Well, when we arrived back to Canada, because the customs were international, we had to go through customs in Toronto, because then the next day we were coming back to Montreal. When we arrived in Toronto, we went through customs. So that was where they were asking everybody from customs that came from foreign destinations, did you come back from Asia either on a connecting flight or whatever? Because they didn't know until we told them where we're coming from and everything. And it was all electronic anyway. So anyway, we answered obviously no, because we did not come back from Asia. So we were released. We got to our respective homes. And on the Thursday, March the 12th, I was coming back from an employment training center, leaving the building, when I walked into a group of 4 people that were smoking. And as you know, I have a terrible asthma condition.
That's true.
And I was really succumbed to it, and I was sick for like 2 or 3 weeks. So right away, people from my class, because I called in on...
I was worried that you had actually caught it.
So Friday the 13th, not that I'm superstitious, I called into the teachers and I said, look, I'm not coming in. I had an asthma attack and I'm really sick. So I'm staying home, and my voice was shot, because you know how my voice can get.
Yeah, I was afraid we caught it.
So the thing was, right away, there was a panic in the school and the entire training center, because they knew I just came back from Aruba, so they thought I got the COVID-19. Now, at that time, there was no mandatory 14-day quarantine as the government ordered now, because anybody who now comes back from anywhere international has to undergo 14-day mandatory. When we came back,
it was voluntary.
Yeah, we came back on the 8th, and because I was sick, I put myself anyway, because I wasn't feeling well and I couldn't go out. And that's all I needed to do was to go into anybody that was smoking. I'd wind up in the hospital, and then it would have really been bad. So anyway, I said, look, I'm not coming in on the 13th. And then on the 16th of March, the local government canceled all schools.
That's
So
right.
since the 16th, I've been out, and only recently, up to about a week ago, I started feeling my best. But I was out for about 2 weeks, and basically, for the exception of me taking the odd walk by myself, because social distancing is very prevalent here in Canada,
Hmm.
and the odd time my girlfriend would bring me some groceries, because she did not want me to go anywhere near a grocery store, so she would pick up stuff from the grocery store, bring it to
Hold
my
on, Hearts
house.
had a question for you. Hearts had a question for you. She wanted to know, did they take your temp? They said they had infrared temp and eye scans on prior
No,
travels.
no. When we got back, it was there was nothing at all about COVID-19. There were no signs. There were no masks. There was no question, because it was before it started infiltrating Canada.
Mhm.
I don't think there were any cases yet, or there was just maybe starting one or two. And your video just cut out, CK,
That's
by the way.
okay. I did it on purpose.
Okay. So that's what happened, and but I was never tested. But I knew what my symptoms were when it came to my asthma, so I knew right away what was the situation. I had some problems breathing, but that's normal when you have an asthma attack. I had cough. I never had a temperature. I never had any kind of dizziness at all, or any of the other symptoms of sore throat. I did not have a fever. I called right away the hotline number that was
Yeah.
given to me. So after finally get through, so they asked what I had, and I told them, and they said no, it's an asthma attack. I also called my brother, who's a medical doctor. So he said,
Right.
you have an asthma, your symptoms of an asthma attack. No, you don't have it. Just stay home. Inform your teachers in case the schools were not canceled yet, and stay home for at least 2 weeks, because it'll take you about 2 weeks to get over it. So fine. I mean, I never had a fever since then, and I never had any of the other symptoms other than the chest pain from the asthma and
Right.
coughing, and that was it. But that's usually what happens, and it went into my lungs and
Oh, oh,
affected my voice. But that's normal but I never had any testing. But I'm fine. Like, I'm talking to you now. You and I go on the phone. We
sure.
chat. We telephone each other every day, and you're checking in to see how I'm doing. And just because, like, I know you were telling people I'm your ex, but just because I'm your ex, that doesn't mean that you and I are not good friends. And I want people
No,
to
and I
know
always
that.
say that you
Yeah,
and I always
yeah,
mention that you and I are good friends, and that you're a friend of this channel, and of this channel. You've helped me a lot on this channel, and we remain good friends. I always mention that. You know that.
yeah, yeah. I know that,
In
but I
fact,
just want.
for those of you who saw my soap opera spoof of The Rewired Soul, the voice behind Bath the Panda, you're looking at him.
Yeah.
That's the voice behind my
Now, if you
Bath the
notice,
Panda.
there's the bear claws over there. So if you see that and stuff like that,
Bear claws.
yeah, and not to be confused with Yogi Bear. Okay, boo boo. You don't want to get don't want to get confused
Yeah,
with
that's
him.
the voice of Bath the Panda.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just wanted to make sure. I mean, I have the bare necessities, not for me to be confused with the Jungle Book. And people have called me honey, so no pun intended there. So yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So just to let people know, if anybody's in the Jewish faith, just to let you know that I have enough matzah to seal any cracks or any floods coming into my apartment building. No, I'm not in the flood zone. No, I don't have
Or
any.
stop.
Yeah, but I have enough matzah here, so it's just yeah.
Or stop.
Yeah, just to let you know, and it's a great weight gainer too, because if you really need to gain weight, you sit on a chair with this stuff, you'll break the chair eventually. It's one of those. Yeah.
Well, actually, you've been. Hang on. Yeah, Hart says hi, Bath, and she likes your Yogi Bear impression.
Well, thanks, Hart. Thanks,
Crack
Hart.
her up. You always crack up Hart's love.
Well, thank you very much. I try to be a stand-up comedian. Everybody stands up and leaves, so that's my sense of humor. And I once performed for a party of one, and I got so tired of seeing my act that I wound up walking away. So.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I just wanted to. Anyway, yeah. Look, it's so that's basically what's been happening. And basically, like I said, I've been managing to do a lot of things here at my house. I actually started to get into a little bit more cooking. No, I have not burnt the place down, and you don't see any sirens or any flashing lights behind me. So slowly but surely, yeah. And doing some stuff with the computer and doing with my radio shows. So I'm keeping busy.
Computer, are you learning to hack into Facebook?
No, you know what? Facebook, I don't even go on that much anymore because I'm just so tired of what's been going on. And, like, really, I don't want to be political here, but you know what's been going on. And because people people watch you from all over the world. So, I just want to make things clear. Like a lot of these politicians, it's not the time to play partisan politics. It's about time to keep your people safe and do the right thing.
Don't agree.
And I want to. That's what I want to say. That's why I've always liked to do some humor, even though sometimes I find my humor sucks. But I still try to do some humor, and just try to lighten the load because this can drive you all crazy. And at least now the weather is starting to get better, so I'm starting to take walks. Eventually, I'll start going out on the balcony. And but basically, a lot of people around this neighborhood is obeying social distancing. My building, I live in a senior residence in the Montreal area. You know where I live, CK.
Yeah.
And people, they're very strict on people being allowed to visit, except for dropping off supplies like stuff, deliveries. And even deliveries, for the exception of food or groceries, they have to put it downstairs. So getting a delivery from Amazon a couple of days ago, they were not allowed to bring it upstairs. They could only leave it downstairs near my mailbox.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they're strict. So the thing is, like I try to take the weather. It's nice. It's getting milder outside. Snow is melted completely. No snow on the ground.
Yeah, and it snowed like a couple of days ago. It snowed a couple of days
ago. But it's
like we're having a white Easter, Look at
it's finished. Well, I saw Peter Rabbit saying that he was late.
Oh.
He was late for a very important date, and he saw the snow, and the
rabbit. Are you telling the rabbit who was late was that rabbit? Forget that rabbit's name.
Peter Rabbit. Is it Peter Rabbit? No, not Peter Rabbit. It was in Alice in Wonderland.
From Alice in Wonderland. Yeah. He was late to the tea party.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wanted to get a big Alice in Wonderland theme tattooed on me.
Well, whatever happened? The rabbit scared you?
Well, right now we're all in quarantine. I don't think there's a tattoo shop doing much business these days.
No. Well, it's not. A lot of businesses are closed tight as a drum.
Yeah, I really don't think tattooing is.
No, it's not considered as an essential service. The alcoholic centers are considered an essential subject, but not like essential business.
I covered that in a video not long ago.
Which I could understand too, because otherwise there'd be such a riot, it wouldn't even be funny. It'd be like such a disorderly state because you have to have people having their alcohol and it'll keep them calm. It might keep them drunk, but it'll keep them calm. So
hey, maybe getting through it is drunk is one way to. Getting through it drunk might be one way. She says, "Hang on, Heartslove had a few things to say. Getting vitamin D is good. Be careful. We did have some spread in a local senior living home. A lot of the senior living homes in Canada have been hit.
Yeah, so far we're lucky that we did not have any confirmed cases here, but it's mostly assisted living when they have a lot of these dining rooms and people come in contact all the time. Because where I live, it's all independent living. It's
Like you have your own kitchen. You don't eat in a dining room.
Yeah, I have my own kitchen. I cook it. Yeah.
Your own meals. So you're pretty much confined to your space, and
which is fine because at least I'm not exposed to anybody that may have it, and some of the workers have gotten it, and I heard what you said also about the some of the grocery stores. A lot of the grocery stores are not doing online delivery, which puts pressures on the two of them that do. Go try to get a date. I might as well just try to get a Powerball lottery ticket in the States next year. Because honestly, I have as much luck as winning the big jackpot in Vegas. So
Oh, good grief.
okay, enough about Charlie Brown, but I know what you mean.
Oh, yeah. But no, yeah, the nursing homes, hearts love the nursing homes in Canada and in this province have been hit like really, really hard.
Well, also in Ontario, in the province of Ontario, which neighbors us, for people that are American viewers, that there was a home up in northern Ontario near Peterborough in a small little town called Bobcaygeon, Ontario. And if you're familiar with the Tragically Hip, they actually sang a song called Bobcaygeon, but this was years ago. And now people were singing it off their balconies, and salute to the Tragically Hip, and salute to the people that at that retirement home, a lot of them died from COVID-19. One in our neighborhood here on the western part of the city, in a place called Dorval, they got nailed. They got over 30 some odd people that died out of 150, and these people are paying $10,000 a day.
Neglect, though, and I am doing a separate video
Yeah.
talking about this, not the political side of it, but I will be discussing like how we treat our seniors, how we as a society treat our seniors, which is not good.
Well,
At all. What happened at that residence in Dorval was particularly gruesome, frightening, appalling. I jump in anywhere,
Seniors have always been scapegoats and targets of a lot of abuse, mental and physical abuse. I've seen it in different news. It might be in the States, here in Canada, locally, internationally. It's because they're very vulnerable. And, it's just a tragedy of the way these people, the people that are supposedly caring for them, they neglect them. And the private homes that the owners really don't care.
Rent $10,000 for the room per month.
Yeah.
That's appalling, like it's
not. Think with $10,000, they should give you your own robe, your own hot tub, your masseuse.
Yeah, exactly.
That gourmet food from the top-notch chefs around the world. I think really it's just it makes me sick.
Somebody new who joined us, Joe from the UK. She just joined us.
Oh, hello, Joe. How you doing?
He's under the name Unmumsy Musings, Josephine. In the chat. Do you see her?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, a lot of I agree with Hearts. Like a lot of nurses, they are very passionate and they really do care about their patients. But there's a lot of them that really have abandoned their patients. The owners really don't care. They did not, like locally, they did not allow the government to come up to see.
Public Health had to get a court order because the owners of the home were not cooperating with the provincial health network.
Yeah.
So Public Health had to get a court order in order to get in.
Yeah.
They had to get a court order, and now the premier has sent the cops to put a police investigation on this. But I plan to do a separate video about
that. I'm going to let you tackle that on another time.
I'm going to be doing a separate video about that probably tomorrow. Joe said she did a video on abuse within a residential home for adults with learning disabilities. That happened last year. She was quite upset about it.
Yeah, I could sure as heck understand that, Josephine, and I'm sure a lot of people in this chat can see the hurt and the absolute anger of these people of what they do to the most vulnerable people. There's two sets of people that are very, very vulnerable. Babies, like children and babies, that could be abused both physically and mentally. Mm-hmm. Actually, a third set would also be the mentally and physically challenged.
Yeah.
And also the senior citizens.
Yeah.
Three of the most vulnerable people, and those are the ones that get so abused, and it's heartbreaking. And I really wish that governments all over the world would crack down and really go after these people, because it's a shame.
Because it is a testament. Joe says lack of training can cause abuse too. Absolutely, and that's
no question.
The seniors residents in question that we're talking about actually too, Joe. Absolutely, so many reasons. Or simply employing staff without vetting them. That's what happens, especially in these private residences that are not covered in the network. They're not regulated,
Yep.
Not in this province, they're not regulated. It's not the first horror story we've heard. There were several homes. Do you remember the Saint Charles Borromée home?
Yeah, remember that. Yeah, yeah,
That had disabled people. That was a more nursing home for for the physically disabled.
yeah,
It led
yeah,
to the suicide of a worker over there.
yeah. It was. Yeah, I heard that. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm gonna get going, but look,
Oh, stay around, stay around.
yeah, no, because I have to get going because I'm expecting a call in the next few minutes. But look, I don't want to. Besides, I don't want to steal the show, but I will go on with you in the not too distant future on other things for sure.
Of course, you're always welcome.
Yep, thank you so much, and I want to take this time.
You're definitely a crowd pleaser.
Well, thank you so much. I want to take this time to wish you, CK, as well as a lot of our viewers, both a belated healthy and happy Passover and a healthy and happy Easter to each and every one of you. I know this year is going to be very, very tough, especially people being with families, friends, and loved ones. So may I take this time to do it virtually. Just respect your physical and social distancing. Don't forget to wash your hands, everybody. We
Yeah.
will all get through this. Knock on wood. We'll knock on wood, and we will all get through this. And I really hope that everybody stays safe, your families,
Yep.
and you take care, CK. And thanks, hearts. And
Around for those of you
yep.
who are watching, I'm sticking around.
Okay, well, take care, everybody. Be well, and you're welcome, Josephine. A healthy and happy Easter to you and your family. You stay safe, and you take care, CK, and take care, everybody. Love you all. We'll speak to you soon.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, so Joe, yeah, I'm by myself again. Okay, in the UK, the CARE Act legislation came out after a major abuse scandal within the Learning Disabilities Home 2014 was to help protect whistleblowers. Since then, more people have reported abuse. I'm glad that there was a law protecting whistleblowers in the UK. Here, we don't do so great with that, protecting whistleblowers. If anything, whistleblowers are discouraged from, well, blowing whistles, so to speak, because there's no protection for them. And they're often, they're bullied, they're harassed for their trouble. They're harassed, they're bullied, often blackballed, and it's difficult for them to get employment afterwards, right? Yeah. Do you need to, hang on. So, do you need that app you're using for? No, you don't need the app. If you want to come on, I'm gonna give you the link. Okay. All you have to do is jump on the link, and I bring you. You come on. That's all you have to do, Joe. Hang on. No, you don't need the app. You can. The app is online. Actually, you don't install it. It's all done online. Just click on the link, and then once I see you in the green room, I bring you on. Okay. The link is in the chat right now. So we'll wait and see when Joe comes on. If Joe comes on, it's really easy, Joe. It's really, really easy. So yeah, so let's see if Joe is going to come on, and she'll probably want to discuss more about what she was discussing in the chat about the home for those with learning problems. Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so while we wait for Joe, to come, yeah, so it is the maintaining. I still want to do kind of my own Truman Show type of thing. I would love to do a fundraiser, and it could be kind of like a streamathon, a fundraiser, but I don't know for what charity. It would have to be something relatable, like pretty much worldwide, I suppose. Most of my audience is from the United States, but I do have plenty from Australia and from the UK and from Canada, some fellow Canadians as well. But I'd love to do my very own Truman Show kind of thing, leave the camera running. Leave the camera running. My hair is getting really long. Thank you. Yeah, mine stops growing too, but I always thought it was my thyroid or my thyroid medication that did that. I remember the hair colorist. I mean, the last time I colored my hair was 2 years ago, and the colorist had said that my thyroid condition, as well as my thyroid medication, would cause hair loss. But I have been fortunate with that. But yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for saying. I haven't noticed that it was growing. I haven't noticed it was growing. But yeah, Yeah, I would love to. I'd have to find a charity. Maybe I'd have to find a few, to be fair, because I do have an audience scattered around the world, my core audience anyway. And I'd love to do like a Truman Show kind of thing. Leave the camera running on stream all night. People jumping on. Josephine's coming on. Hang on, let's see Josephine. Okay.
Hey.
Hi. Okay, we don't see your picture. Was that deliberate or is this a tech issue? We just hear.
Yeah, no, it's deliberate because it's about 3:30.
Oh, okay, no problem. I'm just making sure. Yeah, just making sure.
It's about. Oh, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay. I had a bit of a scare earlier this week because I had a bit of a fever and my joints were killing me and all that lovely stuff. And I thought, oh, please don't let me have this.
Oh dear. Oh no.
Yeah.
You're all right though?
Pardon me?
Are you okay though?
Yeah, I'm okay today. I'm okay today. I don't have a fever today, and I was up to doing this kind of thing, this chat. I thought I'd try out the because I got the paid version of StreamYard because I can have unlimited time, and because I stream a lot, and the free version of StreamYard there's like a limited time you per month you that you're allotted, and there's a lot of things you can't do with it that I can now. And one of them is I can pre-record a video as well through this, and it's all online based. You don't install it. It's all online, and you set up an account and you enter, So that's what's good about StreamYard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so it's not an app per se. What?
I've never used this app. I think I use Streamlabs on my laptop to go live because although I've got over 1,000 subs, I'm not monetized, so you still can't go live on YouTube unless you're monetized.
You're not monetized?
Which is a pain. So.
Have you applied?
No, I'm not monetized.
No. But
I'm literally just under. No, not yet. I'm just under the viewing amount, like the 4,000, whatever it is. I'm literally like at 3.5 views or something. I'm not bothered, to be honest. Like, if I get monetized, I get monetized. It's like pocket money, isn't it, for me? So
yeah.
I'll still post as and when, like YouTube's just a hobby for me. It's somewhere I can come and vent. And to be honest, with all this pandemic and lockdown, I felt frustrated quite a lot with not being able to see my kids and with like work and stuff. So I've been able to sort of come onto YouTube, chuck a video up, air my feelings, and then I'm like, okay, that's done. Kind of like a therapy, but it needed to be said, especially with how people are ignoring social distancing and stuff. But yeah, I'll still only post as and when I feel like I want to. I'm not gonna it's a hobby for me. It's not something I need to do. Do you know what I mean? I like it though. I prefer watching other people than actually doing videos myself.
Well, Hearts Love is going to link your channel in the chat in a minute or two. She just said that she's going to do just that. So everybody show some love for Joe here. Hearts Love said she'll get the link to Joe's channel to put it in the chat. I will once this stream is done, I will put the link to Joe's channel in the pinned comment below. But do you have your community tab yet?
Yeah, I've got that up. Yeah, that's up.
Yeah, this is what I really want. This is what I really want. I don't have the 1,000 subs yet, okay? And I'm not close. I'm not even halfway there. I have, at last count, I have 362. 362 subs. This channel has been super slow and growing, but I made so many mistakes with this channel too that's probably slowed things down. There were consequences like slowing the growth of this channel down a bit. But
yeah.
But that's what I want even more than AdSense. I want. Oh, there's her hand. There's Joe. There she is. She's waving, you know.
I'm here.
Here, you have a tattoo?
Yeah, it's
You?
not very. I've
Me
got quite
too.
a few actually. I can't say.
Fun.
They were like what they call them, like scratches, you know, like not qualified tattooists. But it was like my friends, they were practicing and like they're qualified now. So this is like, oh God, this is like 10 odd years ago. So I was like, yeah, just do it. It's all right. But it turns out that because I have eczema,
yeah,
the
I have
ink.
dermatitis, so I feel your pain.
Yeah, so when I went into the healing process, I scabbed over really bad, which ended
Oh,
up blowing the lines out. And I think even looking at them now, you can see that some of them dug in too hard on the black lining.
oh no.
But I'm just like, yeah, to be honest, like I'm not bothered about getting them covered up. It's not. I had where was it? Which part? I can't remember now. Yeah, I think it was this one. I had the colouring over it about 6 years ago because
Oh,
the colouring started
good.
to fade. Yeah, and that really hurt. So I was like, nah, I'm not going to get a cover up. Like, I'm all right. I
I
was just
had
like,
to cover
nah.
up an old one too. I had gotten a cover up on my old one. It's this one here. This is a cover up. Like there was a smaller, older one that I got done when I was 17 underneath this one. I don't know if you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kitty cat with the rose there. Yeah.
That's cute though.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a cover up. Yeah. So I because like the smaller one I had, I don't know, it no longer reflected, you know, as I got older, it no longer reflected who I was or what my personality was about. So I
Yeah.
thought, let's cover it up, you know, as best we can. And you know, and there's a lot of artists in Montreal that won't do cover-ups. I don't know why, but they won't do cover-ups.
Yeah.
So I had to do a lot of research.
I went to about a year and a half ago. I went to like a renowned artist here in my area, and I was like, you know, can you cover these up? And he was like, yeah. But he looked at them and said, did you have problems healing? And I went, yeah, I've got eczema,
Oh
and
yeah.
the healing process my eczema kicked in. And he was like, well, to be honest, if your eczema's like, and I showed him photos of how bad the eczema was, because it didn't just scab over the ink, it actually went halfway up my arm. And
Oh,
he said,
nice.
if I was to cover that up or do half a sleeve, he says, I can cover it up fine. But if your eczema kicks in like it did with that, then he says, you're really just wasting your time. So he's like, are you really bothered about having them cover up? And I was like, no, not really, because kind of tells a story. I'm fine with it. If I'm fine with it, then, you know, and he said, that's all that matters. He was like, you know, he's covered in tattoos himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he's really bad tattoos that he was like, well, that was part of my life back then.
Mm-hmm.
Tells a story. So I'm not so bothered about having it covered up. Like, and I was like, well, then there you go.
Oh wow. Yeah. Hang on. Heart's Love says there are some who specialize in cover-ups, but I think they're hard to find. So I guess, and Heart's Love is in the southern unit part of the United States. So I guess this is an all over the place kind of thing.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, I'm not like gonna bother. Like I've got tattoos on my back and my legs, and they're fine. It's just these arms. I mean, like whether or not I get any more, I don't know. But I can't be asked really, to be honest. It's my arms that the eczema really played up on.
Yeah,
But
I
on my
hear
back and my
you.
legs, it was fine. The eczema didn't. But yeah, so what was the conversation as I came in? Because it was talking about like abuse within like residential care settings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more than half of the because we can't use this word on YouTube now. But although my Talkin was on just earlier, he kind of did and spoiled things. So I guess we'll continue in that vein. But COVID, yeah, that's a word we're not allowed to use on YouTube. But anyways, Another one of those verboten words. But yeah, most of the casualties in Canada have been coming from seniors' residences, and a lot of deaths and stuff. And we were talking about one, okay, in a suburb of the city of Montreal, where there's a lot of questions we had. It came out on Friday in the media. That, like, it was horrifying. Like what was found a couple of weeks ago. It's a private nursing home. It's not run by our Medicare or the province. Although I think from the owners, they rent a certain section of it, and that's how they were able to get in, sort of. But the owners were not being compliant. The provincial health network, had sent in some staff because there was a complaints of staff shortages. So they had sent some nurses and some patient attendants from their network to go in. And the owner was not being very cooperative. And then finally, Quebec Public Health had to get a court order to get all the patient files. 31 bodies were found dead. 31. Jesus. And a lot of the elderly, those that were alive, were like barely hanging on. They were like dehydrated. They hadn't been fed. They were lying in their own shit, basically, triple diapered. Piss bags were burst. And it was, you can just imagine. One nurse, and she looked like a veteran nurse. Like, she looked older. I saw her. She looked older, and she looked like she'd been a nurse for years. Like, she's not fresh out of nursing school. And she said she had to go out in her car and cry when she saw this.
Do you know what, right? So abuse in, like, residential care settings, it breaks my heart. I mean, like, so I originally started working in the healthcare sector as a domiciliary carer. We call them community carers, people that go into, like, their homes, patients' homes, to care for them so that they don't have to go into residential settings. Sure. That's how I started off in healthcare. I started off not knowing anything about care or healthcare at all, and I had the basic, well, it's not even qualifications, it's a course. So when you start your job in care, you have to do something called a care certificate. Yeah. And it's like is it like 6 to 12 weeks? I can't remember.
Hang on, just want to greet somebody, and we got a new person in the chat. Hang on. Hey, Dr. Kitts, welcome to Straight Talk and Fedora Chic. Glad you can join us. Sorry, Joe, I like to interact when new people come in.
No, that's absolutely fine. It's fine. That is your stream.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, so you do this thing called a care certificate. I can't remember how long it takes to do. Like, it's been so long now. Like, I think it's been like 12 years. So it was like a 6 to 12 week course that you do online, basically. So you go and do your training with whatever company you're with, which can be 3 or 5 days depending on the company, and you learn all the basics of, like, legislations within the healthcare sector, laws, restrictions, what you can and can't do, how you do certain things, like all the basic stuff, right? Then you do your care certificate, and that basically gives you, like, the basic qualification to work in care. Now, a lot of private healthcare companies aren't doing that care certificate anymore. If you go to countries like Ireland, you can't work in the healthcare sector, even like community care or residential care, until you've done, I think it's a 2-year diploma course at college. Yeah. Then you can go and work. So that 2-year diploma course is what I would have originally done, which was called MVQ, a National Vocational Qualification. I think they now call it a QCF. But I did that on the job. But you can tell the difference between those that haven't done any kind of qualification in care to those that have, by the way that they do things and their knowledge and so forth. And throughout the years, I've worked for different private healthcare sectors. I've worked for NHF healthcare sectors as well. Like, I used to be a HCA in hospital. Oh. I've worked in psychiatric hospitals as well as a HCA, but that came along with my progression in qualifications as well within the healthcare sector. But
Okay.
community care was like where my heart sort of always went to. I always returned to community care. And each time I returned, it was shocking by the experiences I had with people in the care sector that were working your normal average carer. And it got to the point that I sat there and I went back to my second to last care company I worked for before I came to where I am now. And I went in as just a normal carer. I was like, I don't want to be a senior. I don't want that authority. I don't want that on my head. I just wanted to be a normal carer, do what I need to do and go home. I didn't want the responsibility of having other carers under me in the paperwork and so forth, because I was just tired basically, but I wanted to work back in care. And I sat there one day and this senior carer had come along and she was doing an assessment on me, which is a normal thing, like, you know, like these checks they do, spot checks and so forth. And the things that she was asking me and trying to explain, I sat there and I went, but that's not why we have to do it like that. That's not, sorry, my cat's jumping up. That's not why we do this X, Y, and Z. And I was actually quite shocked, thinking, how are you a senior when you don't understand the basics? And I was like, I'm not being rude. So I went to my care coordinator and I said, like, you know, I don't want to cause any issues in that. I'm not doing this to be, I'm not going to swear, to be a horrid person.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for actual genuine concern. And I said, this senior XYZ, and explained. And I said, has she got any qualifications? And she was like, no, she's only got experience. I was like, how many years? And it's like 3 years experience in care. So I said, during those 3 years, she's not done her MVQ level 2. And they're like, what's an MVQ? And I sat there like, oh my God. And then I realised the name had been changed. So I was like, a QCF. And she went, no, she hasn't. And I said, honestly, like, you know, I really do think that to be a senior, you have to have your QCF level 2. She didn't have it. And I said, like, before anyone else spots this, I think you really need to put her on this course. And they're like, you know, who are you to tell us? And I said, I've worked in care a long time. I've got 2 QCFs at this point, a 2 and a 3. I said, I've been a senior supervisor and a care coordinator myself. So I know how care companies run. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm not doing this out of malice. I'm actually doing this out of pure concern.
Sure.
Because I said, if this carries on, what if someone whistle blew? What if someone went to CQC, which is the governing body for healthcare within the UK? What if they went and said, oh, well, you know, this person's done this, blah, blah, blah. I said, then the company would be under investigation. And they were like, oh, right, okay. Like, and like, she ended up doing her, like, a couple of months later, she got put onto her QCF level 2. And I was like, right, okay, how bad can it be? Like that? Like, honestly, like, the healthcare sector, private healthcare sector is riddled with people that are unqualified, people that really don't know the basics. So you've got, I think there's more though, actually. You've got 10 different umbrellas of abuse. And you've got, what they call it now. It's, what's the company? I really can't remember the name of it. I'm really terrible at remembering. It comes under like organisational abuse. I think it might have actually changed. Organisational abuse, which is abuse within, like, a company, basically, right? And it's your basic things, like if you put a cup of water slightly out of reach that a resident or a patient can't reach, and you leave it there and you continue to do that, that is abuse. If you are giving the resident the same meal every single day because you can't be asked to cook what they want, or you just ignore what they want, that's abuse. If you're going in and you're not changing their pads and you're looking and going, right, it's a little bit wet, but it's not dirty, I'll leave them like that, that's abuse. If you're not washing a person properly, that's abuse. If you're basically not asking consent, but if you're not giving that service user the choice, because even though they're under care, even if they may not have their own mindset in,
Sure.
they still have the option to choose. So you always have to give that choice.
Right.
So that comes under organizational abuse, and that is just like the surface of it. There is so much more to it. So you get a lot of that in like residential care home settings, especially within the elderly care settings or the learning disability settings. And we had back in I think it was 2010 or 11 sometime, there was a scandal in the UK called the Winterbourne. I think it's a Winterbourne scandal, and it was a learning disabilities care home in the Bristol area, I think it was.
Okay.
And it was people were basically abusing the residents. So I can remember clearly there was this lady, and she was like mid-20s, I think, and she has Down syndrome as well as autism.
Oh dear.
And they took the mick out of her. Like, if she didn't do what they wanted to do, they would put her in a freezing cold shower in her nightie, and then they would chuck her outside in the garden. And at this point, it was like -2. So they would chuck her out in the garden for half an hour, laughing at her, and then only let her in when she turned purple. You had support workers that were pinning other people under chairs and laughing about it, randomly walking past, punching them. They would restrain them to the floor. There's certain restraint tactics you can and can't use. And it turned out that some of these support workers were ex-prison guards. So the restraint process they use in prison, you're not allowed to use in the care setting. It's not, you have to use the least constrictive, and you can only use it once, and you can only use it if you're trained in it. So I'm trained in something called proactive skip.
Yes.
Which isn't restraining. It's just, I can't remember the words now. It's a way to sort of get out of a situation if someone comes and attacks you. So like if someone comes at you waving and throwing their arms in the air, you're trained to like catch those arms just below the wrist, and then you do this funny like cross arm thing down, and then you like move out of the way and let go. So they basically just walk on by, but it gives you the ability to then move and not be hit, basically. So you can't, in care settings and that, you can't actually use physical restraints like that. If you were to use them,
yes.
And I'm trained in certain restraint tactics that are extreme, but they're a one-off use, and you have, every time you use it, you have to document them anyway. You always have to fill out some form of incident report. Certain restraints that I'm trained to use, you then have to monitor said person's breathing for like 24 hours and so forth. So there are certain movements that you can and can't use. So these people in the Winterbourne care home setting were actually using restraint methods used in the prison, and they were bringing it over to this care home, and they weren't taught to use it in the care home, right? And one of the parents of one of the residents actually reported this abuse, and it got ignored. Then one, I don't know if she was a nurse or a community carer, I think she might have been a nurse. She reported the abuse to the police, and it got ignored. A lot of people reported it and it got ignored. So then Panorama sent an undercover journalist to go in, and they went in as like a normal care assistant, like new to the job type thing, and they wore like a hidden body cam, and they recorded everything, right? People were arrested and put on trial and then went to prison and so forth for this. It got aired on Panorama, but because of what happened at the Winterbourne View home, the Care Act legislation of 2012 actually came into place, which protects whistleblowers, also protects residents and so forth, but mainly whistleblowers. So you can go and report abuse, whatever, to CQC. Your name gets protected. Even when it goes to court, your name gets protected. You don't have to be there. Nothing goes against you, obviously, unless it's deemed that you were part of the abuse, if you know what I mean. Like, so that got brought in, and a lot of care homes were shut down. However, last year, I think it was, there was abuse in a home up north. I think it was in the Leeds area up north.
Oh,
Again,
dear.
it was a learning disabilities and autism residential home. And it was called Walton Hall, or Walton Manor. I think it was Walton Hall. I can't remember.
Okay.
But again, it was the same thing. People were whistleblowing. It was getting dismissed. Every time CQC went in to go and do an assessment, the company had covered it all up.
No.
So they sent, again, Panorama went in, right? Which they're really good at what they do, Panorama.
Okay.
Wore a hidden body cam, recorded stuff that was going on. And there was this one girl with autism, and certain things triggered her, like balloons. She was definitely scared of balloons. So when she was playing up, they would blow up balloons and pop them in her face.
Oh, no.
So
No.
which would trigger her. Then she didn't like having male carers. She strictly had to have female carers, but they would take the mick out of her and send male carers in. So she would be on her bed, curled up in a corner, screaming. And like her parents knew nothing of this. They knew her behaviours and personality had changed since being in there, but they thought maybe it was because it was a residential setting and not a home setting. But she was obviously sent there because of her challenging behaviours, and her parents just couldn't care for her as well as they were able to before. There were other guys in there that were threatening to have their stuff taken away from them. One guy had his room cleared out and his stuff chucked in a tip. You had the care workers standing outside in the car park in the morning having a cigarette, and they were using discriminating words like the R word to describe them, taking the mick out of them, talking about sexual acts that they would do to them, like all this stuff, right? So obviously they got reported and closed down. But during the investigation, it turned out that the company that was running this Walton Hall were the same company, or I think they were like a parent company to the one that ran that Winterbourne View home.
Mm-hmm.
They just changed their name.
Mm-hmm.
So because of all this happening and everything that was going on, the company I work for were actually pushing with Parliament to have a health minister for autism and learning disabilities, because we don't have one strictly for autism and learning disabilities.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were doing that, but when the Walton Hall abuse scandal came out, it all had to be put on a stop because that was investigated, that was going through Parliament and so forth. It was opening up again, and there was supposed to be hearings this year regarding getting a health minister for autism and learning disabilities, but because of the pandemic coming on, that was put on hold. So you've got a lot of actual bigger companies that do well, that don't have any type of abuse scandal, that actually train their staff to a really good degree. They're actually trying to push to get this health minister. It wasn't just my company. There were a few other companies that came under the umbrella as well. But it was solely down to a lack of training. The companies employing basically just anyone because they needed staff. They weren't vetting properly. You have something called DBS, which is Dispatch Scotland, a security check, like a CBR type check. And to work in our care sector, it has to be enhanced. However, when they come back, it's at the discretion of the company whether or not they want to employ you. So if you've got history of abuse like 10 years prior, but nothing since on that, they can still employ you if they want.
Oh God!
So I'm like,
so they're not.
What's the point of having?
They're not screened.
No, well they are. They can just take them on if they still wish to. So they're just employing anyone basically. And they're not given the relevant training. Like some of from the Walton Manor, what was captured on video training wise isn't what was being shown to like CQC when they were going in to investigate. And it wasn't just your normal care staff. There was an actual psychiatric nurse that was heading the staff that was lying, and they caught her on video lying. Like, this is a woman in her 50s with like 30 years experience, and I'm like, you're abusing your position for this. You're like, and it's mainly the bigger care settings. So going along with trying to get a health minister for autism and learning disabilities, companies that are banding together are also trying to close down private companies in having bigger residential settings for autism and learning disabilities. They want to bring it down to smaller settings, like assisted living settings, where you have maybe 5 or 6 people living, rather than having 30, 40 people under the same roof. Like, it just opens your eye up. Like, the amount of stories that I've heard about like autism and learning disability residential homes in the south as well are terrible. Like, I know of one company that didn't hit the news, but 6 or 7 years ago, everyone in that care setting was being abused. Like, they were being, you had people with autism, like low functioning autism, that were being shut in a dark room with no windows for days on end as a punishment, not being fed. Like, and like, that's sort of, that place has been closed down now, but there's a lot more going on. Like a lot more goes on than the public even realizes. And
yeah, that's
it's just heartbreaking, because when
it is.
Yeah, sorry, I can go on about this. Like,
well, I mean, what happened at this particular home, like I said, just a suburb west of the city of Montreal on the island, the Heron Residence, it's called, the Heron Residence. What had happened was, when it was found, because employees had walked off the job, they just walked off the job. But I had been hearing so many nightmare scenarios. Like, you see our premier doing his daily press conference, okay, our provincial premier doing the daily press conference. And day after day, he would refer to the frontline healthcare workers as guardian angels and all, and thank you for your service. And meanwhile, we hear from frontline healthcare workers that they're burned out. They don't have the protective gear that they need. Okay. They are rationed to 2 masks per day. So imagine in this private center, where the workers over there are paid less, they have no benefits. Like a patient attendant worker at $13 an hour, which is lower than if they were working in the public, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they're not unionized. And so I can only imagine, I'm not so quick to judge those workers that walked off. Like, what if they probably did try to get in touch with their boss, express their concerns, and it fell on deaf ears? And that happens. That's a thing thing that happens. And they probably figured, you know what? No one's listening to me. I don't feel protected enough. I'm afraid of getting sick. This pay is crap. I'm out of here. And so I'm not going to be so quick to chastise the workers that walked off. And there was another home in Ontario, in the province of Ontario, in a Toronto suburb, in a town called Markham. It was called the Participation Home. And that's a home for people with severe disabilities, like physical disabilities.
Yeah.
And we saw on one of the news shows that the guest was the mother of one of the residents. She pulled her daughter out and brought her daughter home because employees had walked off the job over there.
It's upsetting, because, like, on one hand, I'm like, I love my job to the point that I've sent my kids to go live with my parents, so I'm not seeing my kids during this pandemic. But I know where I work, everything is kosher. Like,
Right.
You haven't got people abusing and so forth. But if I was in a setting that I wasn't given the correct PPE, I was being worked to the bone, to the point that it was affecting my mental health.
Yeah.
I wasn't being looked after, but everyone else in the setting was in the same situation of me. Staying there would only be enabling the company to carry on doing that. So the best thing, I've always said, the best option is never the easiest option to do. So to walk out
Yeah.
would be the best option, because by walking out, as long as they haven't got the ability to employ more people to keep going,
Mhm.
to walk out on a company like that then raises alarms for people to look into that. And people may get, like, residents may get shipped out and transferred somewhere else. Like, you know, it's the hard thing to do, but sometimes it is the best thing to do. Like, we had a care home not so far from me that did that a couple of years ago. Like, the residents weren't being medicated like they should be. They weren't being looked after. The staff weren't being looked after. The staff weren't given any PPE. They were having to buy the PPE themselves, which a
Oh.
private company has to supply for free.
Well, yeah.
And eventually,
Yeah.
yes, exactly, Hearts. That 12 care workers actually walked out on the same day, and because of that, CQC literally went in within 24 hours and shut the home down.
Okay.
And they saw what was happening. You know, like, and it's a hard thing, really hard thing to do. Like, I mean, we've always had PPE where I work. There's always been supplied. We've just had N95 masks delivered,
Okay.
which took, I think it's like 6 weeks to get hold of. But
Oh man.
we don't use them. Like, we've all been fitted out for them. Like, so you have to be fitted out for an N95 mask by a nurse. So it fits to your face, because obviously, like, if there's any leakages, there's no point having the mask.
Yes.
We've all been fitted out with that. We've all got our own, like, sterilised bag with everything in, just basically sitting at work ready to go in case anyone that we care for and support at work contract the virus and so forth. That's sat there. That's taken 6 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks, I think, to get hold of. And that is just, like, we've got 40, a maximum of 40 staff where I work.
Okay.
And you think if hospitals aren't getting that either, like, it, and like, I don't blame nurses for going, like, I can't work with these C patients because you're not giving me the correct gear to work, the protective equipment. Like, I would walk out too. I'm like, I love my job. I would risk a lot to do my job, but I wouldn't risk my life. Like, not in that aspect. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different. Like, if I was to jump in and give someone CPR in the middle of the road, that's one thing. But to go into a known area where this virus is, knowing full well that within minutes I've contracted that virus because I'm not wearing the right gear, therefore I could pass it on to other people. No, because to some it's a death sentence. Like, you know, you don't know how your own body is going to react to this. Some people have been fine, other people haven't. There have been healthy people with no underlying health conditions that have sadly and unfortunately passed away from this virus. It just depends on how the body can fight it and react to it. Do you know what I mean? So no, I don't blame people for walking out.
No, that's why it's just it. I'm not going to chastise. Oh, hang on a minute. Heart's Love is departing. Hang on. I'm going to have to leave you guys in a few minutes. I just don't want to leave with no warning. But CK, if you alert me of any issues in chat on Discord, I'll hop back on. Okay, thanks so much, Hearts. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. She says, but I really do think it's important to bring light to such issues such as these. Thank you for all the work you do, Joe. Truly, healthcare
thank you.
of all kinds are so important. Yes, they are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Do you know what makes me laugh, though? Is like Boris Johnson.
Oh,
I think it was last year. Like, last year, Boris Johnson was like, those working in the healthcare sector, you know, it's not like an important role. People, you know, like this, because we don't get paid a lot, right?
No.
And now we are the ones that he is depending on.
Yeah, exactly.
For his recovery, like,
not long ago, wasn't he? He was in ICU not long ago.
Yeah, he's only just come out, I think, yesterday.
He came out of hospital, I heard in the news. But yeah, I wonder how he feels. Yeah. Those unimportant healthcare workers that now he had to be completely dependent on for his care. I wonder, some of those healthcare workers that had to attend to them, nurses, patient attendants, that kind of thing. I wonder what they were thinking. Oh, like I can only imagine the ideas that were running. This is the guy that said that we weren't important, and now he's here, and he relies on us.
And
Like, I wonder what everyone was thinking. Okay, let's sabotage him. I know.
Yeah.
But they.
Do you know what's quite?
What?
Do you know what's quite ironic about this as well is that before, even after being a PM, I think Boris Johnson, he was always saying something derogatory about foreigners or immigrants coming in to work in the healthcare sector, nurses, care staff, doctors, whatever. Like, he always had something negative to say about them. But we have a lot of Filipinos that work as nurses over here.
Okay.
So the NHS, even now, they still do this big drive to employ foreigners, like non-British, to come over and work as nurses and doctors and so forth.
Okay.
Every couple of years, I think it is, they go and do this big drive. They get like Filipinos to come over and train up as nurses and so forth, like, which is great because it's giving people work and qualifications.
Sure.
But he would sit there and degrade them. Right. So unfortunately, a high amount of our NHS workers that have sadly passed away from the virus have been Filipinos or foreigners, like people putting themselves on the front line. Like, I don't know the statistics of it all, but when you read about them or look at the photos, you've got like maybe 80% of healthcare, like NHS workers who have passed away from this virus aren't British. And you're like, right, okay, these people have dedicated their lives, what they do, to looking after us British, and yet you've got some that are not PC and quite racist that were dragging these types of people, and now they're like bigging them up, like, like, thank you for doing what you do. And you're like, but like, if you look at X, Y, and Z's Twitter a year ago, when Brexit was happening, you were like, no foreigners, like, look them out, they don't deserve to be here. These are the people that are looking after you and saving your lives, and you're still there, like.
I know.
It's
really
it's just silly.
And it's the same thing here.
Right.
Like when the premier, he goes on, he takes on this fatherly role, and that's the role he's taken on. So obviously, image consultants told him to do that. But he's there, and he's like I said, I'm not talking about the prime minister. I'm talking about our provincial premier, and he. There he goes calling the healthcare workers, they're the guardian angels. And yet we're hearing from this, nurses, like forced overtime. That's another thing. And that has been happening. That has been an issue with the nurses. Forced overtime. That has been happening long before the pandemic under the previous government, under the previous Quebec government. This has been going on for quite some time now. Why their union can't do anything about it is mind-boggling. Why their union doesn't do anything about it. But yeah, it's they don't realize forced overtime, like forcing a nurse to work a 16-hour shift. It's kind of dangerous. It's kind of dangerous. So imagine now.
So over here. It's tiring. Like over here in the UK, like I don't know. Like, I do know within the healthcare sector that to work over 40 hours a week, you have to sign a disclaimer to say that you're willing to do so.
Oh,
like you can't be made to work over that amount of time. Like you physically cannot be forced because you're protected.
sure.
Like, so I signed this disclaimer. I've always signed it, but once I hit those 40 hours, I'm always asked, can you work overtime? And I'll say yes or no. It doesn't, like, whatever I can do. So like last week I did, I thought I did 70 hours, but I did 72 hours in 5 days.
Wow.
And that was because I was between, I did my normal job.
Right.
And obviously we were understaffed because there were people that had to self-isolate due to being on the vulnerable list, or people being off sick because they can't get child cover. So I did that. I also did 2 shifts at hospital. I went back as a HCA to go and help them out, because they could call and ask. They'd been calling people up that had been, from what I understand, had been working for the NHS but had left between 3 to 5 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
So they were calling up to ask us if we were still in the field, if we could still go back and work. So I did 2 shifts last week, so that took me up to 72 hours. But that took me about 3 days to recover from.
Oh, God.
And I was like, right, okay, do I want to do that? Like, they've called and asked if I can do that again. And I was like, I really can't. Honestly, I just can't do it. It's too tiring. And to have me work when I'm tired, I'm going to make mistakes. So there's no point having me there.
Why. Oh, thank you. Happy Easter to you too. And have a good night. Sorry, that was the chat. Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, exactly. It's I don't think that's just it. You know, you're in healthcare and you're forced into overtime and you're burned out and you're exhausted. You're going to make mistakes. I'm going to give you a little personal anecdote here. I think I've mentioned this on this channel before, but if you haven't heard, I'll tell you. This was nothing to do with the pandemic now. This was a couple of years back. I had to go to, I was in the emergency room, the ER, we call it here, the ER in Canada and the United States. And I needed an IV. So I was in a room with a couple of armchairs. Yeah, that's what they do now. If you came in by yourself and you need an IV, they're not going to put you on a bed. They're going to put you in a room with chairs. Like they're like the old tacky lazy boy chairs.
Yeah.
And so they put me in chairs, in a chair, and the nurse, I had overheard the nurse, and I knew she was like frazzled. And I overheard her telling her colleague, saying that she had been on for 16 hours straight. She didn't even have time to pee. Okay. And the next thing you know, she's inserting my IV. She's trying to insert, and I have veins that are shifty and they're small and hard to find to begin with, right? And they tend to shift, and it's not easy trying to insert any kind of IV, any kind of line in my forearms or my hands, right? But yeah, so it took several tries. And when she finally got it in, what happened was it missed my vein, and the IV was flowing. Whatever was in that IV was flowing, and I felt my arm swelling up. I felt my forearms, and then it hurt. Like I had this horrible burning sensation, and I kind of yelled. Luckily, there was somebody else in the room who heard me. It was another nurse. It was another colleague, and they saw, she had missed my vein. That's what happened. That's why my arm was swelling up. That's why I was in pain. And this kind of thing is dangerous. You miss the vein, you're inserting an IV, you let the flow, you release the flow of the infusion. This kind of thing is dangerous. And that's all because this nurse was, and I'm not angry with this nurse. I'm angry with a system that forced her into this position to work 16 hours straight without a break. Like she said, like she had no time to pee. So imagine if she didn't have time to go to the can, she didn't have time to eat, like take a break to eat or have a cup of coffee or whatever. She was exhausted, you know, but she was exhausted. But it was still dangerous. Go ahead.
The conditions are making people working. I mean, like I know, like some of my friends are nurses working up at the hospital at the moment, and they're like, some of them are having to do rotations on quarantine wards. Luckily, we don't have as many in quarantine at my hospital than others do. I think the last time I heard there was only 10 people in quarantine, but that was a couple of weeks ago. Actually, that was last week when I was up there. But they're doing rotations. So some of these girls, my friends, aren't going home for like 3 days at a time because they're staying to do shifts. So they'll do like a 16, 17-hour shift. Then they'll go and sleep on one of the spare ward 5 hours. Then they'll get back up to carry on doing shifts because they're that understaffed. And like as much as nurses and that are wanting to work, there are some that legally can't work because of their own health conditions, like, so like that they're working as hard as they can with as little time as they can, and they're being told, no, you've got to go home, and they're like, no, we can't, people need to be helped.
Exactly.
And it's upsetting that they're having to do that. I know that the NHS put out a call for like volunteers to come forward and help, and people are like, that's great. But when you see what the volunteering is for, it's not to do with working on the wards. Like it's to help them either deliver medication, be on a helpline, help with the call centres, and do stuff outside the hospital, like patient transfers and stuff, which is great, because then those medical professionals that are doing that can actually go and work in the hospital. And it's great that that's happening. I mean, there's a helpline being set up just for people that are feeling alone during this lockdown period, like a mental health line, and you can call up whenever you want and just talk and go like, I'm really not handling this, I just need someone to talk to. And the volunteers that do that, they don't have to be on a specific time. It's kind of like an app they're given that they can log in and show that they're live, so they can take a call. Which is fantastic. Like a few of my friends are doing that were like office workers, and they've obviously the companies are closed down for now, so that's what they're doing. And they're like, it helps them as well, because when they're up at stupid o'clock in the morning because they can't sleep, then they'll log on to this app and take these phone calls and stuff, which is great. And I was like, I was considering doing that, but I thought, do you know what, I'm still working, I need my own sleep as it is. I can't give that time to other people when I know that's my time to recoup, so I can save my energy to be able to go and work. And like, I was discussing that with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I feel really bad that I can't help in that way. And they're like, but at the end of the day, you're a key worker, you're still working. No one's going to think anything bad of you for not volunteering your time. Going to work back for the NHS last week for those 2 shifts, that really knocked it on the head for me, because you have to have 10 to 12 hours between doing shifts legally. So I'd go and start my normal job at 6 or 7 in the morning. I'd finish that job at 4 or 5, and then I'd go straight on to starting my shift at the hospital at around 5, but I'd finish that shift at 10 p.m. because then I'd have to go home, rest, and then be able to do my normal job. And it was like, I wasn't working anywhere near the quarantine wards. I was just hop between maternity and A&E. And it was hard to watch, because you had doctors that were doing nurses' jobs, like they actually stood down from being a doctor to actually do a nurse role, just to help out in like A&E and that. And it was great to see people pulling together like that. But then on another hand, it makes you realise how much strain our NHS has right now. And that's heartbreaking to see. Like, and I've seen like job adverts put out for like just normal healthcare workers, which is what I went into the hospital as a HCA. They were putting out like job applications and stuff, like adverts for healthcare workers to go and work on quarantine wards, whether or not in the private care sector or in the hospital. and the job adverts between 17,500 a year to 20,000 a year, and I'm like, right, okay, so the most qualified is going to get 20,000, the underqualified is going to get 17,500, but you want to put them in a contagious ward for that amount of money? Like,
Wow.
you know, that you're asking someone to risk their own health, because it
Yep.
is a high risk, to
Yep.
go and work that. And I'm sitting there going, like, when I've worked with MRSA, for a constant year, I work with MRSA, and to work with that, they upped my pay for that year by 10 grand, like, which was great. But
Yes.
it's like, and why can't they do that? Why can't they go, right, okay, we need someone qualified as a HCA, band 3 or 4 upwards, to come and work? We're offering to give you at least 30k. Like, give them the 30k while this pandemic's going on. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
make it worth. I know it's financially, it's a struggle. Even nurses, like, and nurses, they're still on that basic. I don't know how much they get paid now, but like your basic start off pay is like 21,000 a year. You've got nurses working 21,000, and they're not seeing their friends, they're not seeing their family, they're not seeing their kids. They're working 3-4 days in a row. Do you know what I mean? And they're risking their own health
Yep.
to go and work on these wards.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is actually a problem in this province. I mean, they kept cutting healthcare to the bone over the years.
Mm.
They've been cutting healthcare to the bone, which is making room for privatization. And it's pretty much in all the provinces. I mean, for a while, we were the capital of private for-profit healthcare in Canada. But there are some provinces that are rapidly catching up to us. Feverishly, the race to the bottom. That's what it is. It's the race to the bottom. Finally, this pandemic comes, and nobody's prepared. Well, part of the problem is with all the healthcare cuts over the years. It's not the whole reason, but it's certainly one of the main reasons why. Yeah, I mean, I know it took the world by surprise. This is a completely new virus that nobody knew, like, didn't exist until a couple of months ago. So, but still, this is what happens. I mean, this is what happens. You cut back on healthcare, and if you don't have an adequate prepared healthcare system, this kind of crap happens. This is what happened with the long-term care residents here. You know, and it is a vulnerable.
Well, let's give them a bonus.
This population is vulnerable. This is a population that is immunocompromised. And see, here's an example. What happens? A lot of places here in my province included. Reason why there are so many casualties in the nursing homes or long-term care homes. The reason why there's so many casualties is because a lot of the healthcare workers, until they get their seniority, I guess, a lot of them are not offered full-time positions at any one institution. So what do they do? They go to work at 2 or 3 to make up full-time hours, full-time pay, full-time wages. They work at 2 or 3 different institutions. And this is what happens. They go to work, like, let's say they go to place institution A in the morning, do their shift. They go in the afternoon to institution B. Now, at institution A, the virus is prevalent. They get exposed to it. The worker gets exposed. They go for the afternoon shift. That's their other job. And they're passing it on to everybody else. It's a vicious circle. And that's why there are so many casualties. One of the reasons, anyway, there's a lot of casualties. I mean, now the provinces have put a stop to workers working at more than one institution. Now they have to pretty much work at the same institution. They put a stop to that. What were they
done the same here? Like
huh?
You get that here. Like, there's a lot of you get that here. There's a lot of like HCAs and even doctors. They go between different hospitals on set days.
Yep.
That's been I know in my area, I don't know about other counties, but I know in my area they've put it to that they can only go to like the main hospital or if that hospital has the staffing already, then they get sent to another hospital. That's another reason why I've also now decided that I'm not adding up my hours by going back to working in hospital, because if I was to catch that virus, then I'd be bringing it into my main place of work as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I sat down and had a long conversation with my manager about. I had a conversation with that with the HR at the hospital I was at, and they said, do you know what, like, that's the best thing, like, thank you for your help here, but you've got to put yourself first.
Yeah.
So luckily, like, I was one of the few that was tested for the virus.
Okay.
And I've come back with, I'm clear, I don't have it. I have
good.
enough antibodies at them, like, by what was tested like 2 weeks ago. I
Okay.
have antibodies to help me, although it doesn't stop me getting it. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, thanks for that, but I haven't got it. So
that's why your kids are living with their grandparents?
yeah, I just don't want that possibility of, if I was to catch it, to pass it on to them. And because my mum does my childcare, but my dad's also diabetic, like, if I was to send them and I had it, or I carried it and give it to them, it's spreading it to 4 other people. So I took that move. This was before I was tested anyway. I took that move to put them in with my parents, so I see them through a glass window 2 times a week. I pop on over and I sit there and wave at them through the window, like.
Oh dear. That must be hard.
But I'm just like, at least I'm seeing them to a certain degree. Well, yeah, it's horrible, absolutely horrible.
But you did the responsible thing. I mean, you did and I'm sure a lot of those who are working the essential services who have children, if they were able to, if they had people they can trust, I'm sure a lot of them did send their children off to live with relatives, to live with relatives temporarily, to ensure. I mean, those that could, like you, who had that possibility.
I mean, we've got, like, where I work, there's 3 women there, and they've all got kids, but they've also got partners, and their partners, obviously, like, then partners aren't working at the moment because the job's closed down. What these 3 women have done is they've all gone to an Airbnb, which the accommodation's been provided for free for them.
Okay.
And these 3 women are living in an Airbnb locally at the moment together. And that's all they're doing, is they're going to work, back to this place, going to work, back to this place. So there's no possibility. But our company have now said that they've given the opportunity that if you decide to live with someone else who works in my company, that they would pay a portion of the rent. And they're doing the same with, like, these Airbnbs and stuff now. So I don't know how much they're going to pay towards them, even though the Airbnbs have been, like, offered for free. But you're getting that with NHS workers and first responders and so forth, like emergency services. They're being offered accommodation for free at the moment as well. And I find it quite funny now, like, not like hilarious funny, but our council, like, we don't have council homes, like state government homes, to give to people in need and blah blah blah. But now all of a sudden they've got, like, hundreds of houses freed up to give to, like, emergency services and so forth, like. And I'm like, oh, where did that crop up from? Like, it's just
wow.
How are you going to explain that, like, when all this pandemic's over with? How are you going to explain that you could house these people, and yet you've got families stuck in one hotel room, like, living together? Like, do you know what I mean? It's
I know exactly. I mean, I know our province had set up some hotels for some of the homeless. There are 2 hospitals that are old hospitals that are no longer in use. The building, the infrastructure, it's no longer in use. So they're housing the homeless to try to isolate them socially, because it is spreading amongst the homeless population as well. And they are also putting healthcare workers in hotels nearby the hospitals they work. And
Mm.
it's not the main problem. Main problem is like things like mandatory overtime. They're short staffed, and they lack the necessary PPE.
Mm.
They lack, like being rationed to 2 masks a day.
Which is quite scary, because these masks that you're given for PPE, healthcare wise, like your basic one-use throwaway mask.
You're talking about the
not
N95?
No, N95 you can reuse because that's fitted to you. But we get, I don't have them here. Actually, they're out in my car, but they're disposable masks.
Oh, okay.
So they stop any spores and that. But the moment that these masks get damp, so you can only literally wear them for like 10 minutes, you have to take them off, throw them away, and reuse them. But with like your N95 mask, we've been told the moment you take that mask off, you have to clean it. You have to disinfect it before you can put it back on.
Sure.
But you have to do it in an area that is basically decontaminated anyway. So the moment you take it off and you put it on like top of your head, you have to clean that mask to be able to put it back on again.
Sure, yeah, obviously.
And it's, I've got a stretch. Oh, hello.
Okay. You okay there?
Yeah, it's just sitting down. My legs are stiff at the moment.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I just find this pandemic, if anything, it's kind of shone a light onto what we really need. Do you know what I mean? It's quite, once all of this is over and done with, I think there's going to be a lot more questions than answers.
Yeah, no, there will be the serious questions will be asked. The serious questions will be asked. Like right now, that care residence that I told you about, the Heron residence. I mean,
yeah,
it's the chain of communication. I mean, at least I'm asking it. Like, how did the chain of communication go down so badly?
Yeah.
Like the health network. The regional networks intervened by sending some staff in a couple of weeks ago, the last week of March, okay, around the 29th of March. They sent them in. Yet we only got the news. It only hit the media on Friday. And apparently, according to our provincial health minister, she claims that she only heard about it on Friday reading the newspaper. Now, how is that? So like obviously the communication broke down somewhere. Public health had to get a court order to go in because the owner was non-compliant, of course, because they have too much to hide, right? And turns out the owner also owns other facilities. So obviously those are going to have to be investigated. The premier has sent the police in to investigate. And one of the questions I have is, if this never hit the premier's office or the health minister's office, this is what I wonder. I mean, would there be police investigating? Probably not. Probably not. But
do you know what? So investigations take time. So unless the police are the first point of call, the police usually aren't involved. Over here, they're not. It depends on how the initial contact's made and what the a complaint is. If it's just a complaint that staff aren't wearing the correct PPE, or staff missed medication or whatever, then the police aren't called. But if it is an actual case of abuse where someone is being physically, mentally, or sexually harmed,
they were severely neglected. I mean, there were 31 dead.
Yeah,
31 found dead.
And then
others were barely hanging on. Others were, like I said earlier in the video, others barely hanging on, like lying in soiled sheets and soiled diapers. They hadn't been fed. They hadn't been washed. They were dehydrated so nobody gave them any water or any fluid. Probably their medication was neglected. Staff had walked out, and they were left to these patients were left to their own devices. And so, yeah, I think that warrants a police investigation. So did the premier.
Mm,
But I have to wonder if this
I mean,
media, you know, if this did
it's like I'll put my hands up and say I've whistleblown myself a few times. Like you can't go through. Well, some might go through a whole career in healthcare, never whistleblown, but the majority of us have done.
Okay.
And my very first one was, it was to do with abuse. I walked in, found something, immediately got the patient that I was caring for, I got them out of harm's way.
Good.
Locked the other person out, and called the police immediately. So once I'd been on a phone call to the police, and I'd obviously called my care manager, who then set the ball rolling with CQC. It had to be reported to CQC, which is a governing body, and so I was involved in that. So I did get protection as a whistleblower, but obviously the abuser knew who I was. So it was like I got as much protection as I was allowed to get, basically. So like my full name was protected, my address, blah blah blah.
Sure.
There have been cases where I've whistleblown and the person didn't know it was me. I've had to whistleblow on co-workers. I've done it on a company I worked for.
Right.
And these are all cases that had to be done. Like, it's not like I did it out of malice. It was, well, who do I report it to if it's the care manager, like the person running it? Like, it's, you can't go to, you have to be very careful on how you go through the processes. So it's all outlined. So every company you work for, whether or not private or NHS, there is a whistleblowing policy, and it's in practices and procedures. So every company has that folder. You have to read it. You have to sign it. You can ask for a copy of it and all that. But the procedure is what if it is a senior? What if it is a care manager? Who do you go to? You go to your local council, social services, or you can go straight up depending on what the situation is.
Right.
But I've been there myself. I've been through the processes. I've been through court. I'm not the only one. There's hundreds of us out there that have been through this. So, and it's not a comfortable process to go through, and it's never going to be comfortable. And it is actually quite daunting. It's mentally, emotionally, and physically stressing. Especially when it came to the fact that even though I was protected as a whistleblower, I still had to leave my job, which, it's like it's like putting a puzzle together. It's like, well, okay, someone's whistleblown reported out a week later, I've had to leave. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right, okay, you're protecting me, but you're not making it that obvious, are you?
No.
But I feel like, there's this whole saying of see something, say something. And I felt in my own mind, I was like, I've done the right thing. Like, it's now down to the authorities to do what they need to do. Like, I've done what I've been taught and had to do. Like, so I've done the right thing. Sometimes when the investigations go through, and I'm going to be quite honest, some private companies are really shifty. They are really good at covering this stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
Other companies just won't. Like, I've been in companies where I've walked out, like, literally, like, I didn't even spend 6 7 weeks there. But I've walked out that CQC annual, what do they call it? They come in each year to go over paperwork and stuff.
Right.
That they've come in, and the company I've worked for have literally like had the files they usually use, and then they have files for when CQC come in.
Yes.
So they give the CQC the nice files, but they don't give the CQCs the actual files. And I've been in the office when people were laughing about that, and I was like, well, hang on, like, this isn't right. And I saw it with my own eyes that they got out these two files. Well, this is the one we give CQC, and this is the actual file. And I'm like, right, okay, well, I'll go along with this. And I looked at it, and there was no like reports to the carers. There was no incident reports. There was no reports on medication being misused and so forth. And I was like, well, hang on. So I ended up calling CQC because I knew they were going to come in like a week after and say, well, actually, I've just sat in the office here and I've witnessed with my own eyes this, that, and whatever. And they're like, like, thank you for letting us know. Is there anyone else that will testify to this? I was like, to be honest, no, because they were all laughing about it. And they were like, did you get any evidence? I was like, no. But I said, I do know where they were keeping the files because that's the room that they went into. So when they went to do their normal like investigation and stuff, they actually had police warrant to search the whole building, and they took the files that was needed. Care company got closed down. But I was like, I made that phone call, and then the next day I went in and I went, I'm not coming in anymore. Didn't have to give notice because I hadn't been there for the 12 weeks. I was just like, no, this isn't for me. Like, thank you, but no thank you. Like, and I didn't say that I'd reported them. But after it all got closed down, another company that I went and worked for, there was another girl that had come from that previous company to where I was working, and we got chatting about it, and she's like, yeah, I've seen those files. I said, well, did you report it? She goes, yeah, I reported it. It's like, oh, when did you report it? And she said, oh, she reported it a couple of weeks before CQC went in. I said, were you the only one? She goes, no, there was a bunch of us that were reporting it, but like nothing got done, so we didn't think anything was being done about it. But obviously something did get done about it. And it was just the fact that if no one had reported this, and I think there's about 6 of us, from what I understand, if no one had reported it, they couldn't get the police warrant to go in and do what they needed to do. So I don't know anything about law, but I'm assuming to get a police warrant, they've had to go to court to go and get the warrant, which means obviously they need enough people to come forward and say, like, I had to write out a statement. Like once I left that company, I had to email over statements to CQC, and then they phoned me and went through every part of the statement. So a lot of these investigations, even when you whistleblow, depending on the situation, you don't have to physically see a CQC investigator face to face.
Sure.
Like you can have conversations over the phone. I've spoken over the phone. I've done conversations over Skype. I've been face to face with CQC investigators. I've been face to face, obviously, with the police. Like, so in the just over 12 years I worked in the healthcare sector, at least once a year I've whistleblown. Well, apart from the past like year and a half, I've not needed to. But like each year I've had to whistleblow for something.
Mm-hmm.
Not every time I've left the company, because it wasn't to do with like abuse towards patients.
Okay.
There were situations with staff themselves doing things they shouldn't be doing, like, but because like you can't work if you've consumed alcohol or drugs.
Well, no,
you're not physically allowed to.
Sure.
No. It's so you can be sacked on the job. That can be put on your DBS and so forth. But like there've been times that I've known people that have actually phoned CQC directly and said, well, hang on. Or they've even actually, no, not CQC directly, sorry. They phoned the police directly and said, well, XYZ, I've just turned up and the living carer is drunk. So the police have had to come and remove the living carer, and then the company have had to deal with it. Like, so, but you do get a lot of people that just turn a blind eye to it and don't bother because they're like, well, it's not my issue. But
right.
It is. When you see it happen, you've got to report it. You have to. If you're going to sit there and not say a thing because it's nothing to do with you, mind my own business, what kind of person does that make you when you're working in healthcare? Like, do you know what I mean? It's not like you're walking down the street and you see 2 people having a fight in a park and you go, well, that's not to do with me, I'm going to walk by. That's one thing. But to see people abusing their position, that's a whole other situation. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do know what you mean. Yeah. Wow. I guess
But
this is a stay tuned kind of thing now, because it's unprecedented. We're now in unprecedented times that is bending the healthcare system pretty much everywhere nowadays.
oh yeah, too. Like there's a lot of like I just hope anyone working in healthcare, if they see something that isn't right or you know is some form of abuse, whether or not it's small or big, I do hope that they call.
I do
You
too.
know, like
I do too. Unfortunately, unlike you in the UK, here in Canada, there's not much to protect whistleblowers, and let's just say they're not whistleblowers are not. They're often goes to the saying, "No good deed goes unpunished."
mm,
That's how it
it's
works for a whistleblower here. That's how it works. No.
it's hard. Yeah, you try to do the right thing, like, and by doing the right thing, you're the one chastised for it. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, but then by not reporting it, you're enabling it, like, which does end up making you part of that abuse. Do you know what I mean? It's like guilty by omission type thing, you know?
I know. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I think there's going to be, and I think,
Yeah, but sorry, can you
yeah,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so right, I'm gonna have to go because my
Yeah,
battery's on 3% at the moment.
I was going to end this stream because it's gone for 22 hours, 25 minutes. And unfortunately, I picked a bad night. I mean, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. I was originally supposed to have some, well, I mean, it wasn't planned. It was basically the only condition I had was somebody I know, which is why I booted. There was somebody else that wanted to join us, but I had no idea who this person was. So that's why I booted them, because I don't take on people that I don't know. Just weird things happen. I saw it on somebody else's channel. They allowed somebody they didn't know. And as soon as he let him on, he had got it. We all got an eye full of hardcore porn. Yeah. So that's why I only take people I know. Yeah, no, I swear, we were all treated to an eye full of hardcore porn. And it was somebody who didn't know. He had to kill his stream right away because YouTube catches wind of that. That's pretty bad for your channel. You can get not just the video, but you can get your channel taken down for putting porn on. And
oh yeah.
He had to kill his stream right away and start a whole new one. And so that's why, I mean, if, like I said, I learn a lesson from everything, or I try to. And one lesson is, when I want to do these open panels, I call it a semi-open panel, because that's my condition. I have to know you, because I have to trust that you're not going to give me an eye full of porn, or you're not going to troll, because I'm sure that happens too. You're not going to troll. Like the guy said a couple of times in the chat, I have a song. I want to sing a song. No.
No, not today.
I want to sing a song. What kind of song are you going to sing? Or you're going to get me a copyright strike on my channel if you're doing a cover of something. How do I know you're not going to give me another copyright claim or a copyright strike on my channel? So that's why I only take people I know. I know somebody else was supposed to come on with me, a girl, Resting Bitch Face. I don't know if you follow her on Twitter.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
He was supposed to come on with me, but what happened was, and Heartslove was alluding to it, apparently in the southern United States, there are storms all over.
Oh.
And that's probably why I didn't, that's probably why it didn't, it wasn't like fully planned. I just wanted to have fun, see, have some people jump on, and see where the conversation would go. But Bitch Face was planned to come on, but she told me that the storm had hit where they lived, and they had been in a power failure for a while. And and Heartslove had said the internet was going in and out. And then I just saw on Twitter, Dustin Daly, he's also in the southern United States. Apparently they had tornado warnings.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, we've got over here, like, so it was like 24, 25 degrees yesterday. And then about midnight, we just got the winds picking up.
Yeah.
it's really windy here, and we're like, oh, okay, here we
Oh,
go.
goody. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's exactly it. So, and I'm sure Metamorphosis rocks in Florida. Probably going through the similar kind of weather, so and conditions.
Yeah.
So imagine that you're stuck, in the middle of a pandemic, and you've got bad storms wiping out the power and all that. It's like, wow. So yeah, resting bitch face was, so resting bitch face will come back some other time. It's not the end of the world. Sheldon came on, and then you came on. It worked out well. Like I said, it worked out well. Sometimes, sometimes these things happen, and about half my followers are from the southern United States. So, and of course, if they're all out of commission because of a storm or bad weather, it happens. It happens. Okay. Oh, okay. So we just lost Joe. Joe, I don't know if you were booted out. There was an accident. It wasn't done on my part, or you just left. Anyways, I'm going to put an end to the stream. I'm going to put an end to the stream now. And I wish you all again a happy Easter. Take care of yourselves and each other, but from afar. Social distancing, very important. We don't want to spread this anymore. Those of you who are living through a storm in the southern part of the United States, stay safe. Stay safe. And if there's somebody vulnerable in your midst, please check up on them. Give them a call. Give them a message, obviously. And if you have a loved one in a long-term care residence, please try to, I know it's difficult, but you might want to check in on them somehow. I know visits are banned and all that, but you might want to make the necessary calls to check in on them, make sure everything is kosher, okay? Because in light of what's been coming out as of late. So for now, I wish you all tomorrow or the day after, I am going to be talking more in detail about, one of the lessons that we might be able to impart for after this pandemic. How well do we as a society treat our most vulnerable, like senior citizens, the disabled? And I'll be talking more about what the incident at the Heron residence, and about that tomorrow, the day after. I still have a review video to do, the video review of Unorthodox on Netflix. That's coming up very soon, I hope. And so I'm gonna try and do better with my content. Those of you, my patrons, for those who support me on Patreon content will be coming up soon. If you wish to support the channel, links are in the description box of this video. I do have Patreon and I have PayPal. And also in the description box, a link to my Discord server. We are 4 months in and 55 members. We have a room for any topic of this conversation, including discussing the quarantine diaries and a new political chat room. So for the time being, I will leave you this for right now. Have a good night, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good night. Happy Easter. Happy Passover. Bye.